Kind of an abnormal one today. Got a 2015 Tesla Model S. Customer complaint, steering wheel off center. So I just drove it here. Steering wheel's off about that far. So it's not crazy, but it's off. So I'm gonna do an alignment, at least reset the toe. And the machine surprisingly does have Tesla stuff in it. So let's see how this goes. This one is not a D, it's just a Model S. So that's not rear wheel drive, or that's only rear wheel drive, it's not all wheel drive. This is a simple question. Just look under here. Of course I don't have good lighting. Let me grab my light. Okay, let there be light. So if you look, this has a coil spring. Real easy. It's got a coil spring, it doesn't have air ride. The other ones have the air chamber. So it's just coil suspension. Bingo. This does have some sort of adaptive cruise control. On the way I came in, it was it would pace the cars in front of me. So that's a yes. Now this is what I was afraid of. In fact, I've never done a Tesla before, but I figured this might be pretty upset because the steering wheel is currently off to the right. Now, it's been learned, that position has been learned as straight. If I straighten the wheel, it's going to think I'm steering to the left. So I talked with this customer, I explained, I'm happy to align this car because as you need to do it, I've got class coming in, but I'm just going to take care of it for him. But I did have to warn him, hey, I'm not sure if I can do these resets. You know, I could do a lot of stuff on OBD2. We've got all sorts of adapters and equipment and dongles and plugins and scan tools here. But Tesla doesn't even have that DLC 3, that OBD2 connector. The Tesla's not equipped with this at all. So I really don't know if I can reset this. And he said, you know, just try to align it. And if it sets some kind of warnings or errors, we'll cross that bridge when we do. So it's possible this may have to go to the Tesla service center. But that's the purpose of my video. I'm gonna adjust that toe and get the steering wheel straight, and then get another video on the drive home. So this won't be exactly a video of how to do an alignment step by step. You got to know how to do that. But if you do know how to do that, you just don't know how to do it on a Tesla, and what you may run into. Hopefully this will help. Interesting, this was another thing. So the problem is getting the Tesla neutral. So this is actually giving us some instructions. We need to buckle the driver's seatbelt with the fob inside, sit in the driver's seat, press the brake pedal to turn it on, shift to neutral using the stalk, and then while still sitting in the seat with the brake pedal on, open the driver's door and use a pocket screwdriver to flip the door latch closed. That way it thinks that you're still in the seat. So that way I can roll it. That's gonna be fun. And yet another specific warning. So if this has air ride, we can actually set it to high, which I do know how to do, but this doesn't have it, so I can't demonstrate it. And then we can put it in jacking mode so it doesn't keep trying to level the suspension when we do this. So, wow, a lot of stuff. A lot of specs right here. Okay, so we're checking ride height from the level surface to a particular point. Kind of interesting, but we're gonna roll with that because I'm really just trying to correct the steering wheel alignment. So on this one, I thought of something different. I'm gonna do a rolling comp.
Kelly, alignment time?
Oh, oui. And then I'm not going to do the neutral trick. I'm going to get in and drive it. All right, so with these already, I'm not going to say that you should do this, but this is what I'm doing. I've used this machine a lot. I'm personally responsible for the machine. So check out what I'm going to do. We're going to do a reverse. Oh, will you get ready for me? Jose helping me out. Okay, here we go. Okay, ready? Slow. Only as far as I have to, and no further. Right there, I'm in reverse. I'm back in drive. Rather than play around with the door latch. Okay. Chilling right there. Okay. We hit ready one more time? Does help to have help. This is gonna do the caster sweep right here.
I wish we didn't have locks.
Why you can't do it like this? I bet you can.
Well, maybe. I feel like our hunter machine is
It probably is. They're supposed to be calibrated periodically.
on. They haven't been.
Probably, yes. And I'm probably not going to play with the caster on this. His whole concern is the steering wheel.
Oh, toe?
But as you can see, this is what's one.
Show bar grass?
So it's, you know, it's not horrible, but we're going to get it better. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to level the steering wheel like I'm a really picky, very meticulous Tesla owner. I do have to own one, but that's just not how I think. All right, so now you can see numbers. That toe is way off. You know, like an average of a ½ degree. So I got some adjustments to do to get that toe straight. But that's the purpose. It's the OBD2 connector, but it's squared off. It doesn't have the angles. It's OBD1. If you open it up, I'll show you.
But OBD1 but connects to the OBD2?
All right, so we're starting out with the rear toe on this. To get that, I got to pull this whole cover. So right here, that whole cover covers up all this stuff, I'm sure, for aerodynamic improvement. And then kind of cool, you can see the dual motor right there. Obviously, if you're doing this, you probably already know, don't touch orange stuff. So don't be freaked out. We're not going to play around with the battery. We're not going to play around with these orange cables up here. We're just going for this eccentric up here on that upper control arm. Let me double click my light to get a little more dim. Right there, that's the lock nut. And then on the other side of that, that's a 19 millimeter. On the other side of it, I would presume is a 19. That's gonna give us our actual toe adjustment. Take a quick look here. That's my target area. I can't really see the numbers, but I wanna make this arrow more equal to this arrow, because he had good tire wear in the back, but I'm gonna get it both, you know, within spec and kind of equal but opposite the other side. So, assuming 19 on that back side, let's see what I can get. I might have been able to do it without removing the shield, but it's hard to even get anything on there. And I'm also shoving my wrench up into dark space, so I'm a little more inclined to get as much access as I can. I do not know which way this needs to be turned. Oh, it actually feels like a little bit of a different size. It feels smaller. Maybe an 18. I'll tell you right now. Yep, 18. Okay, so I'm turning it. I turned it clockwise from my perspective, which is like actually counterclockwise, looking at the head of the bolt. I'm gonna turn it the other way now. I don't ever really pay a ton of attention to which direction. Just do trial and error. All right, so got a nice view of my arm. I got it turned. I probably overshot that a little. So I'm gonna bring it back just a hair. Let me see kind of where I'm at, right? Going way up for that bolt. Gotta kind of like get the wrench in position. Doing it mostly blind, not a big thing. And then a little trial and error here. Actually, a little further. So, and then the thing too is when I go to tighten that lock nut, it's probably gonna change a little. So I gotta sort of through this. All right, equal but opposite, looking good. All right, so snugging up that lock nut. This is the thing, I don't have torque specs on this car. Some people may say dig through the forums. I don't do forums. So I torqued that tight, probably a little tighter than it was. You gotta turn it a little bit back. So I'm gonna be meticulous and redo that. All right, so I just redid it. Let's get a closer look here. All right, so you can see left side, that would be perfect. This is well within spec. That would be perfect. This is well within spec. So I got them similar to opposites, and the toe in the rear would cause tire wear, but being that it's in spec, we should be good. Let's go with, I could have shown bar graphs. That actually helped me see a little better. The reason I'm pretty particular on doing the rear toe opposite is because I want this thrust angle very low. If the thrust angle, if there's much of a difference between the two toes in the rear, we'll have a thrust angle, and that thrust angle will actually can cause the steering wheel to be off center as well, because the back tires are turned a direction. So to get it to go straight, you have to turn the steering wheel to align it. So you can see, in fact, you know what? I'm gonna get this one a little closer because you can see it's just barely on the line. So I'm gonna bring that one in, but I won't show that. After this, the next step is I'm gonna go to the next axle. So take a look at that mess, but I'm gonna fix this one a little bit better right now. All right, so now I got the back more where I want to show the next axle. This is the front. So the main problem that you can see is the toe right here. It's a little to the left. This one's way to the left. That's because this steering wheel was to the right. Now that I've leveled the steering wheel, the actual wheels are pointing left. So this is my main concern. Next thing I want to look at is this camber. So this customer's main concern was steering wheel, but everybody's concern is tire wear as well. So I'm going to take the liberty to straighten this out. This is in spec. This is not. How do I adjust that? I don't know. It's a freaking Tesla. I don't know anything about this car. So if I go under illustrate adjustments, looks like, okay, way up here, I gotta figure out even what I'm looking at here. This is the knuckle. It looks like there's gonna be this caster arm or a camber arm coming off from the side. So my next step is to find that, and it looks pretty buried. Okay, so it says like kind of a crazy multi-link, but it looks to me, dim the light again. It looks to me like this is gonna be my adjustment in here. I may once again pull some covers so I can access that a little bit better. In fact, it's got a part number on it right there. So it looks like kind of similar type of a setup. I was also looking at this arm. You know what? This arm seems like it would change camber. This one seems like it would more change caster. So let me focus on this arm right now. Yeah, that's it. Bingo. The one that's in line. See, the picture's hard to interpret. This one right here is exactly right. Caster. Boom. Because that arm at an angle is going to pull the wheel forward or rearward. This arm that's more in the center line is going to pull the bottom of the wheel in or out. So that's going to change our camber. And after all, the issue's camber, right? So getting that negative 1.0, that means that that right wheel is tilted in a little. I got to stand it back up. So to stand it back up, right, it's tilted in. To stand it back up, I need to suck the bottom in. I'm going to suck the bottom in with that eccentric, which means I'm not pulling the cover. Sweet. All right, so on the back side, loosening the lock nut. It's a 22 millimeter. Okay, on the front side, kind of similar to the back, it's smaller. I'm sure will be a 21. All right, so we're focusing on that top right camber, which even went a little bit more out of spec because I loosened the lock nut. Now this might take a little force. Okay. And this also might tweak the caster, by the way, but it should be mostly camber. If I want to change his caster, I can, and I'm going to consider it when I'm done. No, this is not changing camber so far at all. It should. It definitely should. Okay. Alright, I'm pretty sure that I was going the right way the first time. I just didn't go far enough. I chickened out a little bit. Alright, let me play with this because it's a very slow change, if any. Alright, bummer, I figured out why. Watch that number as I'm going to turn this. It's already maxed out, which means more than likely something's a little bent. How? Don't know. Okay, so I'm going to turn it clockwise. Keep watching. See, it's starting to get a little further out. It's at a negative 1.2. Negative 1.3. Still turning clockwise. Kind of hard to hold the phone and turn and watch. So apologize for that. See, I'm just getting further and further out. This eccentric is maxed out in that direction. So, as evident, I'll turn it counterclockwise. Counterclockwise. Alright, see, we're getting closer now. But that's it. Now watch, it's going to start getting further. So that eccentric just maxed out on pulling it in. Now it's going to start pushing it out more. You can see it's back to 1.2. So I can't fix that one with at least this adjustment. So I'm going to do something a little tricky. It's not exactly in the book. What I may be able to do is pull that caster arm in and have that help our camber a little bit. Maybe. If not, we'll have to live with that unless he wants to try to do further diagnosis and determine what's bent. The fact that it's pushed out, that doesn't really happen. What that probably really means is something up on the top was pushed in. So I don't know how much he knows about it, but if this was ever hit here, that would tuck the top in. So I'm just basically, the top is fixed, there's no adjustment, so I'm trying to match it with the bottom, and the bottom's pulled in as far as it can already. So let me just play around with that caster to see if I can kind of pull off a miracle on this one and get it perfect, but maybe not. Alright, I screwed around with it every which way. This is the best I could get. So this camber is going to remain out of spec. The good news is that's slightly out of spec, and that used to be a bigger thing on bias ply tires, but with the radial they don't flex that much, so I don't really anticipate any substantial tire wear with that number. So part 2, 0.9 cross camber is actually enough to make it pull slightly, but this one didn't pull, and the reason it didn't pull is I think it's just slight enough where it's just not really gonna pull. So I'd be concerned, except the customer didn't complain about it, and when I drove it I didn't feel it, so I'm not really that concerned about it. It should pull actually, but I didn't feel it. So because I can't get these any better, one thing I could do, I could come over to this camber and bring this camber in to offset that camber, and I gotta think about whether I want to do that or not, because ultimately his main concern is this. Let me think about it. Alright, so this cross camber is going to cause a pull left. This cross caster is going to cause a pull left. So I didn't feel it, he didn't feel it, but you know what? I don't really like it. Because I can't do any more with this, I can come over here and I can make the left side cancel out the right side. And then if I can get those pretty well canceled out, I'll probably feel good about it. If I can get them not quite canceled out, I can also tweak the caster Caster doesn't wear tires, it only causes a pull. So if I have to tweak this caster out this way to get them to both be a 4.8, that would cancel out. I could make these two cancel out and still have realistically minimal tire wear, and it would definitely go straight. So I'm onto that. Alright, so this thing's kind of turned into a pain in my butt. You can see I got these on the money. This is the problem with the camber. I can only get the camber this negative. This is the most positive I can make the camber, and this is the most negative I can get the camber. So we're still a difference of 0.8, which is a little more than I would like, because this one's tilted in a little and this one's tilted in a little less. That's actually caused a left pull. But if you look at those two and then look at this, follow my logic. This one's in and this one's out a little. Right now I got them both slightly in, but that's because I've got this maxed out to stand it up as much as I can, and it's still in. And I've got this one almost straight up and down, but I've got it so I'm trying to do this. So more than likely what happened actually, this subframe right here has probably shifted over here. So this would actually require a subframe alignment, which would mean I'd unbolt the subframe structurally from the body and I'd shift it this way. That would help me stand this one up, and that would help me actually be able to tilt this one in a little bit more. So that would actually fix it. So it's kind of weird. So I'd move the whole subframe, right? The bottom like this. Have to move it like this. But I don't think I'm gonna do it. If this was a little bit more of a traditional car, I think I would. But I gotta tell you, the truth is, I don't know. The battery is bolted to this subframe. And I could see where the subframe goes up to the body, like that bolt right there. And there's a couple bolts over there. But I don't know how many. And I'm concerned about really loosening up this battery. So that would be the real hookup on this. But I'm gonna do a judgment call, because look, customer's not really concerned about the pull. Remember, they didn't really experience the pull. So all I've got is a little bit of mismatched camber. This will have no tire wear. This would have very, very, very minimal. I mean, if I push on that, it's in spec. Some flat rate guys will actually do that, by the way. They'd actually come over here and just tug it into the green. This one's actually a little hard to move, but they would cheat it. So I'm gonna tighten them up, I'm gonna leave it good, and I'm gonna set the toe. Alright, got it all tightened. 100%, this is the best I can get without doing that subframe thing, and it's just not really worth it for this. So, next major thing, we're gonna do adjust toe with wind toe. This is the critical step. You don't really you don't really start the engine on this freaking electric car. But I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna level the steering wheel. And then once I level it, that's gonna save. Let me set my phone down real quick. Alright, we're up high now. So, that wind toe is kind of cool because I don't have to do the steering wheel depressor or the steering wheel lock, because it will save this position. Now, the key is, right, to get really straight how it was, okay? I'm like just a hair left. You could actually set a level on here, literally, but I like to do it by feel. Let me set my phone down too to get two hands on it. Alright, this is sweet right here. So, now I gotta slide out, watch my leg, so I don't bump the wheel. See, I touched it slightly, but it didn't move. Okay. So, jump down, kind of a big jump. Click ready. That's what people don't understand about wind toe. Boom, it saved that straight ahead position. So I don't have to lock crap. Now I just adjust and we're looking good. Alright, so we're calling out the right tie rod. The tie rod's up here. I used a adjustable on that nut. It's probably like 24 millimeter. And then right here where that hex is, you have to see. Right there, you can see it. Not where the nut is, but right in the center of the screen. And put my 17 on there. right like that. All right, so then I'm gonna just start turning one way or the other. You know what? I thought it was gonna be a 17. Yeah, it is. Okay, that's the right way, but I got a lot of turning to do. And then once again, as always, I'll get it where I think it's perfect, and then by the time I do the lock nut, which was the one I did with the adjustable, it'll change a little bit, so I might have to do a couple shots predicting the measurement, but I'm gonna adjust this real quick. All right, tell me you don't like that. But now, like I said, I'm gonna snug that lock nut up, probably screw it up. Ready? All right, trying to slam this out now. So I got the right side done. I moved on to the left side. Now that's done. I'm gonna hit ready. So this step, I have to jump up in there and I turn the steering wheel perfectly straight and I see if I'm happy with it. Because all this wiggling down here probably moved the steering wheel, but because it was wind toe, it should still be straight. Let me jump up. All right, check it. Dead money. That's sweet. So that's the verification. We don't really need to go road test it. I'm still going to, obviously, 70 miles home, but that's how I know if it's going to be straight. If it's not straight right there, when that's centered, I'm going to fix it without even getting it off the alignment rack. So the work on this is done. All that's left is the verification drive to see if it sets any faults. All right, and one last thing. Because I couldn't get this perfect, I want to make sure I made it really clear. The customer's concern was the steering wheel off center, so that's my main goal. But if I align something, I'm going to try to get it perfect. But if I can't get it perfect, I'm going to make sure that I address their concern. And their concern is steering wheel off center. This steering wheel is dead on the money now, so I already know they're happy. And then the fact that before I had a difference in caster that was causing a left pull, compounding with the difference in camber that was causing a left pull, would mean it's probably going to pull. And the thing is, even if they didn't notice it and I didn't notice it, you know what, I'd rather just adjust it, and that way I'm not really worried about a comeback. However, the max we want for cross camber is 0.5. This one's 0.8, so I'm a little bit out of spec. I'm out of spec because the difference between negative 0.3 and negative 1.0, it's actually 0.7. So I'm probably a little closer to 0.7 than 0.8. But I can't get this in spec without a major undertaking. And so I would call the customer and say, hey, I can't get it in spec. Do you want to pay a bunch of extra money for me to figure out how to move this subframe? And in which case I didn't even make the call because I know his concern, and I also know this is barely out of spec. So I made a judgment call. You know what? It doesn't really need the subframe adjustment to be satisfactory to the customer standard. So this screen looks jacked up because there's red in it. But if you really know how to read the numbers and interpret the numbers and tie that to the customer's concern, who cares about the colors? Matter of fact, I could go in here and I could make these green. So don't really sweat the numbers too much. If you want me to do this right now, I can make the tolerance a 1.0, right? I'll go in and I'll make all the tolerances a 1.0, which I don't normally do because that's not really the purpose or whatever. I could make them all something. I'll just open the tolerance up huge. So that way, look, if I exit this and then I go back to the vehicle, right? I gotta adjust, show the next axle. Oh my goodness, I feel so much less anxiety now. But I guess the point being, the numbers are the freaking same, the colors are just different. So look at the numbers, understand the numbers and what that means to the customer, and then fix the customer's concern and know exactly what's going to get you in trouble and what's not. And you can fix the car without making a big problem. Now I got to put covers on. Doesn't get much better than that. Nice and straight, very level, no warnings, no alerts. I'm gonna call this a successful alignment, and I really didn't have to do any resets or anything. Now I can't guarantee this is gonna be true for everybody, but I'm showing you it's true for me on this particular car. Turned out sweet.